Hello, everyone. My name is Uwais Asmal. Welcome to another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat, powered by Makosi, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to be successful other than just climbing the corporate ladder. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and the show will be available on podcast by tomorrow. If you are watching live, please drop a one in the comments so that we know we're not talking to ourselves, and drop a two in the comments if you are watching the recording. My guest for this week is Jehad Kasu, entrepreneur, managing director of 4410 Media, and director at Rutherglen Investments and the Mitchell's Plain Golf Club. Jehad, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for the invitation to participate in this interview, Wes.
To jump straight into questions, tell us your story. Where do you come from? And maybe outside of work, who is Jehad Kasu?
Well, I'm from Cape Town. I grew up in Mitchell's Plain and went to high school in Mitchell's Plain. A lot of my friends and family is also still out there. And I studied communication sciences, and I've got a love for language and communication, public speaking, PR, any form of communicating with people or communicating a message about someone or about a product that can add value to someone's life or to someone's business is something that really excites me. So in essence, though, that is the thing that makes me tick. And if I were to delve into my entrepreneurship journey, it was actually something that happened coincidentally. It wasn't by design. To be honest with you, it's not a journey that I thought I'd have found myself on when I was growing up or while I was studying. And I started study sales agent while I was doing part-time studies as a means to supplement a bit of a study bursary that I got. And I happened to be selling advertising to blue chip companies and for a publishing house. And the the job really excited me because although it was a job that most people looked down upon at the time, I was a young 20 something. I got to speak to on a daily basis at that young age to C-suite executives. So your CFOs, your COOs, your CEOs in corporate companies, in public and private companies, but then also at a government level, local, provincial and national level. It was your mayors, your MACO members, your ministers, your MECs, and then eventually even presidents of countries. So there wouldn't be a year that goes by at one time where I wouldn't be in a room with a president. And that was something that was very exciting for me. And those were opportunities where you're having meaningful conversations because the advertising I was selling at the time was to promote foreign direct investment into South Africa. So we were promoting our value propositions. So we were having highly intellectual conversations around advertising. Municipality in Limpopo, what is your USP? What makes your uh, region in Limpopo an attractive investment destination for whatever your value proposition is, whether it be mining or agriculture? What is it, and how can we help you position that to the rest of the world to show the rest of the world that this is Limpopo, this is where they are, and this is the opportunity that exists for you? So that world excited me, and while I was doing it part time, I thought that wow, this world of publishing, of communicating through the printed word with pictures, and having that title distributed globally, because that title for the company I was working for would then be distributed by the Department of Trade and Industry. So all of their outbound trade missions, they would take this particular title. It was called Invest in South Africa. That was the title more than 10 years ago. So that publication was used by the DTI then as a tool and a resource to market and promote investment opportunities throughout South Africa. And it was an incredible opportunity to be a part of that. When someone goes on a trade mission and they take a picture was a magazine that they've got in Russia. The BRICS countries were big that time. So Russia, India, Brazil, it really install a sense of pride and accomplishment to know that you've added value in that way. So that's how I fell in love with the industry. And I was at that particular company for about 3 years when the owner, it was a sole proprietor, he suddenly died of a massive heart attack at the age of 37 years old. And him and I became really, really close. He was like a big brother to me, and he mentored me, and we really had more than an employer-employee relationship. And my peers would often mock and tease me and say that I'm the golden boy. But I think it's just because I really resonated with the work that we were doing. It wasn't just a job. It became something that I was excited and passionate about. And that enthusiasm translated in my work ethic and my delivery. And I think that is also what made the owner of the company identify me as a strong leader within the organization. But he suddenly passed away at the age of 37. And this was just after the 2010 World Cup. And suddenly our staff, our company was going nowhere. There was no succession plan. And that is something that I think many businesses or entrepreneurs don't think of when they're at that age. So I look at myself now, I'm at the age that he was when he passed away. Do I have a succession plan? What do I do to mitigate that same kind of risk and to the people that's within my ecosystem, the lives that are dependent on it, you know? Um, and that experience has informed me to put certain mechanisms in place to ensure that the same fate doesn't fall on the people within my team. But he then passed away, and then the company, there was no way forward. There was no one to take it forward, and the company closed down. I was fortunate enough because I dealt with a lot of our clients at executive level. I'm a really good relationship builder, I'd like to think. And I retain relationships for long periods of time, even though there are many long periods of silence. It's easy to pick up the phone and contact people of 7, 8 years ago to say, you know, how things going. Yes, potentially an opportunity for collaboration. Are you keen to explore? And 9 out of 10 times they'd say, yes, the one time they might say no is because they don't have the capacity. So relationship building is, for me, an integral part of how I've developed as an entrepreneur. Um, so I then got headhunted by a competing publisher just after
Okay.
my former employer passed away, and I started. Fortunately, I was able to start almost immediately. But while I was there, one of my former colleagues at the previous company who had left just before the owner passed away, he said, Jihad, I heard Mohammed passed away. You know, what are you doing? What's keeping you busy? Have you got something to move forward with? I told him, yes, I'm here. I'm fine. I'm comfortable. And then he planted the seed. He said, what do you think about starting your own publishing company? I was like, okay, I'm interested, but also not intensely so. But let me hear what you have to say. You know, do you have any projects in the pipeline? And he said, let's meet. And we met at Spur in Vangate. I won't forget for breakfast one Saturday morning, and that's where our plan to start a publishing company was hatched. And early in 2011, we started the company. We're 10 years old this year. In May,
Oh,
we're 10 years old.
awesome. Congrats.
And so thank you. So that's how it came about. And we thought, okay, now we've got the experience, I've got the network. How do we go about getting the business now? Because that is
Okay.
the ticket that keeps you going. It's one thing to start a business, but who are you going to service?
No.
And we we didn't have the capacity and the resources to compete with big publishing companies, you know. So we needed to have a very strong USP that would differentiate us from the bigger players to almost put you in a non-compete environment. So your IP and your ideation process becomes very valuable to a small business, so, regardless of the industry that you're in.
Giving
And
away the
we
answers
then
before I even
developed a
ask the questions. Yeah, I
publication.
like it.
So you think, how do you compete? It's the answer is don't. Be creative, be innovative. And everyone at the time was producing publications for conferences, and that was kind of the cash cow. And those contacts came from strong relationships. And we never had an opportunity to get into some of those contacts because of historical relationships with existing businesses. So that forced us to create something new. And then we figured out that the BRICS Summit was coming to South Africa or to Africa for the first time. And we thought this is our opportunity to create a publication for the BRICS Summit. And we pitched our idea to DIRCO, the Department of International Relations and Communication. And we thought, but certainly we aren't going to be the only publisher that's going to go there to say we can do your content publication. So what's going to make us different? And out of everyone that has come forward with a proposal to produce a publication, we were the only one that said we will publish in Mandarin, in Portuguese, Russian, and in English, so that the foreign guests and delegates that are participating within this historic landmark event within Africa, if there are opportunities that can be immediately acted upon when the parties are here, why would you want to risk that not happening or delaying that happening because
Because of
of a lack
language.
of understanding?
Mm.
Maybe they can't find a translator or the opportunity gets lost in translation. And that is what sealed the deal for us. And we got that gig. It was an amazing opportunity, and that really set a benchmark for our capability as a small business. And at that point, it was a small business. The name of the company of our company is 4410 Media, and that's actually that actually comes from 44 Tennyson Street, which is the home that I grew up in Mitchell's
It's
Plain.
all true.
And
Oh,
our
Mitchell's
logo, you'll see there's a house in the background, and there's a garage section that was my bedroom, and that bedroom became our office, and that's where the business grew and got its momentum from before we moved out to offices in Century City many years later. But that is how we pay homage to where we come from and how we can never forget where we've started, because it's a constant reminder in the corporate identity of this business,
okay.
to know where you've come from, the struggles that you've endured, because I worked a full-time job as I started this. I didn't just quit
So
when we said we're
let's
going to
move on to
start a
some of the
business. I
questions,
still kept on
so
working.
that we can get into
And
some of the other things as well,
so
if
I'd
you
work a
don't
full
mind.
day and I'd come home at 6 p.m. in the
There
evening.
might be a little bit of a lag.
And then I'd,
You with
sorry,
me? I say let's just move on to some of the questions. Otherwise, we're not going to hear the whole story, and
okay, no
I don't want
problem.
the viewers to miss out. You also, like, your profile says you are
I,
a socialist entrepreneur.
okay,
What does that mean? Because you don't hear that often or at all.
yes. I don't know if I lost you there. You want me to expound on that for you?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So all of the causes that or the projects that I tackle, there needs to be some kind of social impact. Um, Whether directly or indirectly is not always within my control, but I like to know that the projects that I get involved in or our business gets involved in has an impact on society, a positive impact, either through job creation opportunities or direct employment creation opportunities, or just promoting Brand South Africa holistically as an investment destination to attract the rest of the world to, so that we have an opportunity to stimulate some kind of economic growth, whether it's at a very granular level or not, is really insignificant to me as long as value is being added. Um, you mentioned earlier that I'm a director at Mitchell's Plain Golf Club. I'm going to touch onto that shortly, but if you look at the titles that we produce, it promotes different sectors within South Africa, within the publishing unit of our business. So we had a title that focuses on the special economic zones. What are the business opportunities for industrialization and black industrialists within the special economic zones industries of Africa. The publication that is very dear to me right now is a title called Your Wellness Matters. It's a monthly health and wellness newspaper that's targeted at your readership or the LSM that don't have medical aid. That gap is the biggest volume of citizens in South Africa, but they're not communicated to on how not to contract preventable diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, obesity, how to manage mental health, how to manage financial wellness. These are things that they don't get spoken to at a very basic level because they don't have a vitality rewards program or a multiply rewards program from the medical aid that there's a vested interest in them changing their behavior. So they are largely overlooked. They only go to the hospital to seek remedial help when they've already gotten sick. And that adds an immense burden on the state healthcare system. At the same time, it also compromises the quality of life severely. And we want to empower them with information so that they can live healthier lives by making more informed
Okay.
decisions on not getting sick in the first place. So we partner with the Department of Health in the Western Cape, the Heart and Stroke Foundation, as well as the Cancer Organization. And those are our core distribution partners. So they would then distribute that title at the hospital, at community outreach programs. And that is the kind of value that we want our products to add to society.
Okay. Okay, that
Another
makes sense.
example that I can
I think
quickly
that
make
that
is
gives a good
the call
that gives
center
us a good
solution. So through
explanation.
Rutherglen Investments that I'm a director of, we focus on creating.
Sorry, the, the lag is bad today. Apologies for that. But just to move on to the next
I'm
one.
losing you always.
Okay. But let's see. I think the audience can still hear. So just to give the audience an idea, if
Okay,
you have
it's
any
much better
questions
now.
for Jihad, please add them to the comments now, and we'll deal with them towards the end. The main reason that I wanted to bring Jihad onto the show was because he's basically a career entrepreneur, and it may not sound
Oh,
special,
that
but
the
coming from
connection's really, really bad. I can't hear you.
okay, the audience can hear me. Hopefully, you can hear me after that. Um, and the because he's a career entrepreneur, that may not sound special, but coming from the
Always,
communities
I never
that
got
we
any
come
of that.
from, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll ask the question just now. Um, Coming from the communities that you come from, nobody talks about entrepreneurship. It's always about going to school and getting good results, and he didn't follow that path. So that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to bring him on the show. But hopefully you can hear me now. So
Yeah.
my next question is, you spent some time working in Croatia. How did that come about? And what was that experience like? And would you recommend young professionals do the same?
Okay. Yes. Well, any opportunity to work anywhere else in the world is something that should be latched onto. It was a fantastic opportunity that came about through LinkedIn, in fact. My profile was matched with an opportunity for Rail, which is a Swiss, a Swedish company based in Croatia. And that is how the opportunity was created. They contacted me. We set up a couple of Skype meetings. My profile acutely matched the role that we were looking for at the time, which was a consultant for business development. And I accepted the role. I was there for a year, and it was a fantastic opportunity. I've been able to go to Croatia twice for that purpose. And it also gave me a lot of experience in a whole new sector, which is health and beauty. So that was a very, very exciting opportunity, and I would definitely encourage our youth to pursue any such opportunities with both hands if it does come their way.
And I see you've also started a co-working space in Athlone, if I'm not mistaken. Again, that's not
I
something
can't hear
people do.
you. Always frozen on my
Can't-
side. Um, we
just
appear to
wait
have
for
a
the
bit of
delay.
technical gremlins.
Yeah, I think it's one of those technical gremlin days, unfortunately. Um, Let's move on to the next
Okay,
question.
so I've gotten the tail end of it. Okay, I've got it. So co-working. So it's the co-working space hasn't been launched yet, but the opportunity.
Go for it. Are you still with us? We were talking about the co-working space. Unfortunately, we've got a little bit of technical issues today. Seems like it. Jad, you still with us? I think we might have lost him. Apologies, everyone, for the technical issues. I think with load shedding and everything else happening, that as yesterday we also seem to have a little bit of problems with LinkedIn, but today it seems to be the technicalities on the other side. I think it's one of those things that happen every now and then. But just to talk to you a little bit about again, one of the reasons why I wanted Jihad on here. Again, he's from Mitchell's Plain and he's an entrepreneur. And people generally you an entrepreneur of doing big things like he's doing. It's not something that you hear about quite often. And he's a relatively young entrepreneur. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to chat to him, just so that you could learn from his experience. So even though we haven't been able to have a full conversation, please do check out his LinkedIn profile, see what he's doing, because that's not something that you see every day. Uh, People coming from previously disadvantaged communities, setting up businesses. I mean, there's lots of people shining out there, but there's also a lot of people too scared to take opportunities and make opportunities. And he's one of those people that made opportunities. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to listen to him, because he's one of those people that have taken the opportunity. And let's see, he might be back with us. Are you back with us? Or are you still experiencing a little bit of delays? It seems like seems like there might be a little bit of issue on his side. So we'll. Are you with us? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Maybe
think that load shedding must be putting a couple of gremlins into our.
I said the same thing. I also said
I
load shedding.
am. Yeah, I
Maybe
think
just
load shedding is making it a bit difficult today.
okay. Okay. Maybe let's just to sum it up. What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self to help the audience out there?
I think maybe if you type the question to
Okay.
me, always,
Okay.
then I can read it
Let's
and
let's
respond. I don't know if your
let's
listeners can
let's
hear
try
me,
this.
but I'm having no
Um,
luck
I'm gonna try.
deciphering anything that's coming from your audio.
Um, you would give your. Okay, this is an interesting one. I've never done this before, but we're sending a WhatsApp and we're hoping we're going to interview one last question via WhatsApp. And let's see what goes through. No? Okay, we've lost it. Okay, people, apologies for the technical difficulties. Load shedding has unfortunately put paid to our interview for
Okay,
today.
I see the question
But
there. So,
okay, he's got the
advice
question.
that I'd give my younger self.
Go for it. Go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you get my audio always?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. So advice that I'd give my younger self is, I've actually had a conversation with an old school friend of mine, and he he's got a skill that he thinks he's got, but he doesn't think it's good enough. Without going into what it is, it's a creative skill. And I said, why don't you? He said he can't monetize it, but I said you can. You can create content for content creators by writing content for them, and then you sell it to them. And he says no, he's got too much respect for those experienced content creators. He doesn't think that what he can create will add any more value or be as good as what they're doing. And I told him, and this is a medical doctor. right? So he's someone that's got experience. He's a very intelligent individual, but he still has this level of self-doubt. And I said, never tell yourself that you can't, no matter what it is. Always tell yourself that you can, and you try, because we often find ourselves saying that we can't without giving it even a half decent attempt. So make the effort and give it a good effort, and see where you end up. But then at least you've tried, and you can tell yourself based on factual information that you can or cannot, or maybe you just need to improve on something in order to get better or be the best. But don't say you can't and you've never really ventured into it. I think fear is a very debilitating emotion. It creates a lot of unnecessary missed opportunities. So don't let the fear of the unknown and the fear of trying prevent you from making an effort. If I look at the opportunities that I've got today, it's because I went out on a limb, I took a risk. And I can tell you that I've lost as well severely because of that risk. But I've also gained far more as a result of taking those risks. So if I do it again, I absolutely will. I think being an entrepreneur has a very but don't be fear. Try and be as calculated as you can. But if your gut is all that you've got to go with, it's more than enough.
Great. I think let's end it there just because of the technical difficulties. The show is live on YouTube and will be available on podcast tomorrow. If you are watching on YouTube or the podcast and you feel that the video has added value to you, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. A reminder about our weekly discussion on Clubhouse about business and investing in South Africa. That's happens on Mondays at 5 p.m. Central African time. And please contact me if you need an invite. We also had a live session yesterday with Darren Isaacs. We talked about international opportunities for chartered accountants and auditors. There seemed to be a problem with LinkedIn, so that is on YouTube. Please feel free to jump on YouTube and have a look at that. There were some very interesting discussions that we had. Jehad, thank you so much for your time. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat, powered by Makosi. Goodbye.